What's up, everybody? How you guys doing tonight? Hope you're doing well. Mike and Michelle here with Luvy's Fat Life, and man, cross our fingers that things are going to go well. I'm going to think positive, say a prayer real quick to the good man up above that things are going to go well tonight. All you creators that go live on StreamYard or whatever type of software you use, man, I feel your pain because this is the third week. And every week I get nervous, and it seems like about an hour before we go live, things start falling apart, and you're like, what in the world is going on? So much love to you guys that are doing this on a weekly basis and do it all the time. I'm like a nervous wreck coming into this because it seems like everything, there's something popping up at all times, it seems like, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
So today, our dogs, hopefully, and you might hear them barking, you may not hear them barking, but prior to the live, like in between when I'm running around trying to get things ready, we go upstairs and the dogs are going crazy. They're barking. They're just going absolutely nuts. And I go to cut the light on, and I turn the light on, and it's the Amazon, a young lady with Amazon, probably early 20s, and her eyes get about this big around. And
Why?
Well, I take the package from her, and then when I look down, I'm wearing my underwear. I have no pants on. I have no sweatpants on. So I'm wearing my underwear to answer the door for the poor young Amazon. This shirt, and I would stand up now and show you, but I don't want to embarrass my wife and myself. No. But yeah, I take the package from her from the door, and the dogs are going crazy, and I'm trying to hold them back. And I've got my underwear on. So boxers or briefs, I'm not going to tell you all that, but that was kind of embarrassing.
Poor girl.
Yeah, she's probably scarred for life. What an old 50-year-old. I'm old enough to be her dad, so she's probably just, something my dad would do. He'd come she said some comment too, like, I always feel real safe when I come here because it's out in the woods. And I'm thinking, well, you're not going to think safe anymore because you come to the old creepy old man in his underwear coming to the door.
She's going to drop the package and run from now on. Yeah.
I'll tell you a story about me mowing in my underwear on another episode. But so, hey, we got a great show tonight, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So we've got NC Texas coming on, Don with NC Texas. We got, I need to say Kimbra and Matt because K becomes before M, but Kimbra and Matt, Fintastic Studios or Fantastic Cruising Community. They're on as well. Awesome podcast they got. Don's got some killer barbecue and going to tell us some stories for 20 minutes. So if you got any stories, to come up tonight, any questions, just ask them. Don and Kimbra and Matt will be glad to answer questions. I'll try to put those comments up as well. We do have our drink of the night. So out of 2 episodes, we've only had one alcohol out of the 4 solo cups. That's a funny story too. John Klakowski from the Ship Show, earlier this week, I was listening to him, and he was telling a story about he's down in Disney, and he's got a nice bottle of bourbon, and he wanted to have some nice bourbon glasses. He calls the front desk, says, "Hey, can I get some glasses sent up here?" And then he says on his live, his YouTube live, he says, I brought they brought me red Solo cups. And I'm dying laughing, because I'm from North Carolina. Here we're rednecks in the woods. And I'm thinking, pour that bourbon down in that Solo cup and I drink it. John's like, we're classy up here in Michigan, I need some real glasses. So he called the front desk and they got him some real glasses. But that's a little fun game we have. We may do this for another couple weeks. Is what you got in your red Solo cup. Cheers.
Mine's very good tonight.
We will not tell this until the very end. So what has Mike and him got in their Solo cup? Hey, and just in case you didn't know it, there's some classy people out there that drink, drinks. It could be Coke. It could be water. It may be bourbon. It could be an alcoholic beverage. But I just want to show you guys somebody who I really look up to.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm just going to show this real quick. So there, country. If you like country music, Luke Combs. He has a red solo cup. He's always playing great country music. If you like the newer country music, I like Luke Combs. He's from North Carolina. He went to Appalachian State. Him and Eric Church, I think, both went to Appalachian State in the mountains of North Carolina. So, hey, if you're a country music fan, Eric Church and Luke Combs, they are from North Carolina, and they're from the mountains and went to Appalachian State. Here's another one, though. If you're a rocker, and I like country, I like rock, I like bluegrass, I like it all. I just like all music. Here's another one for you guys that loves a solo cup, a red solo cup on top. Who's that? Can anybody guess who that is in the chat tonight? Who was that? Come on, it's one of the better new rocking. Well, not really new. They've been around a while, rocking for a while. David Grohl from the Foo Fighters. I love the Foo Fighters. But yeah, he's a solo cup man too. He likes his solo cup. So you can't go wrong with a solo cup, right?
Nope, can't go wrong.
When you come to the party, you don't want to wash glasses or anything like that. Now, I don't know about your scotch and bourbon in a red solo cup. That could be what's in mine tonight. Who knows? We'll find out at the very end. But again, thank you guys for coming in here. We're going to check who's in this chat real quick and say hellos, and then we're going to bring our first guests on tonight. So, hey, who all we got here? We got those crazy people, Mike and Michelle Lovelace from they've got the fat people again. We got Tom and Brenda from KY Travelers and Nana's Hidden Apron. They're here tonight. Of course, we got Fintastic Studios. I'm glad they're here. I'm glad Matt and Kimbra's are right. I'd had to talk for 20 minutes. Yeah. And then we got Dan in here. Dan, welcome, buddy. Looks like we got who else we got in here? There's a lot of good conversations. Billy's in here tonight. Thank you, Billy, for dropping in. We got Jonathan Short from the Six Traveling Shorts is in here tonight. Kimbra's in here. I already said that with Fantastic. We got Clay Mayer in here. We got Blaine in here from South Carolina. Oh, I got my mama in here. Mama Maxine.
Hey, Maxine.
Hey, mama. I'm a mama's boy. Mama Maxine Sparks is in the house. And we got Sarah Bob from the Q's Cruisers. Every time I think of them, I think of my cousin who was from New York, from Syracuse. Big Orange fan. And who else we got? Looks like a lot of conversations. David Burgess, we got David in here. Hey, David. Good day from Oz. Hey, is it the Yellow Brick Road, maybe the Oz? I don't know what's going on there. I'm just messing with you. Again, Mom's in here talking back and forth. So I love it when I see people on here talking back and forth and just saying hello and what's going on and everything. But if I missed your name, we got a Facebook user in here saying, hey, you guys, back on Facebook. You'd have to click that little link at the top so we can see your name. But if you're on Facebook and you want to say your name and then say a question or hey, that'd be awesome as well. And then we got Vacation Adventures with Pam and Rich. We're going to have them sooner or later on here. We got Beach Please. We got Betsy and Mike. Anthony is like a diehard Betsy and Mike fan now, is he not?
He is.
Sometimes, he's like, he loves their daughter, he loves their son, and he loves them in general. He's like, this couple's kind of okay. I like it. And I was like, yeah, Anthony, they are okay.
If you're getting a thumbs up from Anthony, you're doing well.
Yeah, so Mike and Betsy with Beach Please. Anthony loves you guys. He was asking to watch you guys again last night. That's 2 weeks in a row. I've walked in there and he's watching them without me. So I don't know about that. Maybe I need to filter it a little bit. But hey, a lot of Facebook people coming on here. We appreciate everybody coming in here. We're running a little bit late here. I'm going to go ahead and show the intro for Don with NC Texas, and then we're going to go ahead and bring him in here, and he's going to talk about his channel. So hey, check his intro out. This is something we do for our guests on here. We kind of creep on your Facebook and YouTube page, and we'll show some stuff on here. Hey, what's going on, Don? How you doing?
John,
Doing well.
that
How
food
y'all
looks
doing?
so good.
Yeah, that brisket, man, looks killer.
Those
don't
ribs
it?
look really good too. We don't ever eat dinner before we come on here.
I have a question for y'all before we start. What's in it?
Ah,
I love
What's in
yes.
it?
Yeah, I'm gonna say a little. Let's see. It's not gonna be Tennessee whiskey. I think you got a little bit of maybe a Jack and Coke in there. I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Probably good. Good. Coors Light.
Coors Light. I
Light.
saw that. I saw that in some of the pictures. I saw the Coors Light on the table, so I figured you're a Coors man.
Yeah, I mean,
So hey,
yeah.
Don, we want to jump straight in here and don't waste any of your time here because I know these people in here they're dying to ask you some questions or kind of go through everything with you. But just kind of give everybody a little bit of background. A couple of weeks ago, Jenny from Lolita Loca contacted me and was saying, "Hey man, I know you was looking for some people on your channel." And you and Don would hit it off. And then I went to your channel and started watching your videos, and you had guns and barbecue. And I was like, that's a man after my own heart. Shame I'm married and shame he's married. Not really. I don't go that way. But tell us a little bit about your channel, Don.
Well, I started it a couple of years ago. Over at Stockyards. I just wanted the reason it's called NC Texas, North Central Texas, is I figured I could go around make videos of things that you may not know are here in this area. And I started out before with Stockyards. And there's a story there. As a matter of fact, I have a video coming out tomorrow morning because I revisited is that first video. A little rough, your first one. So we revisited it last Saturday. So I have one come out in the morning. But anyway, that was the whole idea. And we've always loved cruising. So we made several cruise videos, Vista and a few more ships. We were actually, it was kind of funny, on the Triumph, our first two cruises. We went back again. We didn't know. It was a great ship, though. We had a lot of fun. Then a buddy of mine went on what we call Bar-B-Qie. Went with his wife and two kids. And he comes back. He says, man, there's these places down in the hill country. And he started talking about Franklin's and a few more places, Blacks. And he said, we ought to get together and you should barbecue crawl. I said, well, you don't really have to twist my arm here, okay? So we took off and we went to several places, Smitty's, called Outside Market. They have actually smoked lamb ribs. You'll find interesting things. Because they smoke and they all have their own sausage. They all make their own sausage. Anyway, so I made a bunch of those videos. Made another cruise video or two. And now, I feel sorry for Tony and Jenny and some of these other people because they can't make cruise videos. They do a great job filling in, and that's what that's why I like it. It's mainly been done in. That was suggested to me too. I was a little bit hesitant because I wasn't sure how people were going to feel if they see me out on the range, firing off a 7mm Magnum or something or an AR. People like it, so I've made a few of them. But it's mainly other people too, not me. I've trained a few people to get their license and that sort of thing. But that's it. I'm kind of making a record for grandkids to watch, maybe 20 years from now or something. And when I'm in the old folks home, back they'll say, "This is Papa back when he was young."
So a little bit, and we can talk about this when we start showing some of your videos. Is what I like about your videos is this is authentic NC. This is Texas barbecue because that's something here we talked about in the last couple of episodes. Last week Scott Bailey from the Real Barbecue Show was on here, and he's from the eastern part of the state of North Carolina. And you and I were talking about this earlier. Like here in North Carolina, pork is what we call barbecue is really pork. For me, I cook it all, and I like brisket. I was telling you earlier, brisket's my favorite. Everybody. It's funny because people will say, "Well, that's Carolina style vinegar, or that's Carolina style pork," and then you hear that's Texas style beef, or that's Texas style barbecue, or Texas style brisket. That's kind of a good intro into. We're going to try to do something here. First time we've done this. So we're going to try to pull up a PowerPoint slide here. You didn't know you was going to school, did you, today? But we're going to bring up a PowerPoint slide, and it's just got photos on it. And Don's going to kind of walk us through some of his cooks and some of his cookers and smokers, and kind of give us an inside track on what barbecue is like in Texas. So, right here's your logo. Can you tell us what Uncle Don's is?
Yeah, that comes from years back. I get one time to a little family get together, and so it was kind of a running joke after that. We were having a birthday party for Keith, my nephew, something, and everybody was like, "Well, we gotta have Uncle Don's barbecue. Always have to have Uncle Don's barbecue." And so when I started my business, it was plain to me. Successful names are businesses that have Mama Rosa's. We have a Mexican restaurant, Mama Rosa's, things like that. So I thought, well, Uncle Don, everybody calls me Uncle Don anyway, as far as my nieces and nephews. And then a friend of mine drew it up, and then I told him basically what I wanted, and he nailed it, exactly what I wanted. And the other thing is, I helped the guy open a restaurant. That's how he found me. It was a truck stop. He was South Korean and wanted real Texas barbecue and chicken fried steak, stuff like that. So worked with him for a few months and got that thing up and running. And he was going to pay me a sum of money, call it Uncle Don's Barbecue, but I come back.
So we'll go to kind of the next picture here. And I think you said something about this maybe on a competition.
Yeah, this is early on. That's you look at that old T-shirt. That was my original logo. It's basically a backyard grill line. That was a charity event. I had several smokers out there. It was pork ribs, brisket, and bone-in chicken breast. And I think this was my first one. Yeah, it was. Everybody wanted me to enter it as my brisket, but then there was 3 categories. I said, well, I got to figure out some good award-winning ribs, or at least be in the running. And I won second place. There's probably, I guess it was like 50 competitors. And I won second place in the ribs. And
that's cool.
Yeah, that was
first
early on.
Competition you'd ever entered, and you finished second out of about 50 people. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, there was some local restaurants there too.
That's cool. Some of the restaurants started asking for your recipe next, then, right? Now look at this killer smoker right here. I mean, I've never seen one quite like this. I've seen some custom smokers built before, but this thing is really sweet looking. Can you tell us a little bit about this? And I know that must be, is that your granddaughter on there as well? But tell us a little bit about this smoker.
That's my third granddaughter, my oldest one.
Okay.
That smoker, I sold a lot of food off the back of that thing. And it, I got it several years ago, actually off a guy on Facebook. He had built it, but he had built a new one and wanted to kind of replace some of his money. And we went back and forth, gosh, for 2 months, trying to come up with what he would take and what I would pay. So anyway, I got it and ran all over the place with that thing behind me. Let me tell you something. Try to that much money. You come up to a stop sign, it'll try to shove you through that stop sign. I mean, I've got a regular half-ton pickup, and you learn how much weight you've got behind you real early on with something like that. It's a wood burner. It'll burn through the logs, but you can also throw a lot of meat on that thing.
Now, is that quarter inch or a little bit less than quarter inch metal there? Was it something completely fabricated, or did they turn like a old barrel?
Those were propane gas tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're at least what I'd say about 5/8 thick. I mean, it's the thing is it's heavy. It needs counterweights. They're on the rise at the other end of the spectrum. That's Old Red. That's the oldest smoker. That thing's retired. I had it about 20 years. Rebuilt it twice. But there's a lot of meat come out of that thing. I learned how to use an offset firebox with that theme. And there was some hits and misses. Yeah, there early on, there was a whole lot more misses than hits. But I had a lot of fun with that thing.
Yeah, those it's like the first smoker I had. I still got it. I wouldn't sell it for anything, and it's a cheap, Brinkman. That's something I got at Lowe's many years ago. But there's, you learn one thing about barbecue, and I'm a firm believer in this, is you have to learn the your airflow and learn how to want those, like an offset like that, or a small Brinkman, and you learn about airflow and closing off the dampers, the holes or not. That makes a huge difference. If you can get that down pat, the rest of it becomes easier. But I think this is the one I was talking to you about, that this is the one that, is this the one that you did the feral pig on?
No.
A different one.
No, that's the feral pig's the newer one. But you're talking about airflow. The thing is, I have a new rule. I didn't used to do this, but over the years I developed this. That little thing that covers your flue, I close that to keep the rain and the bees out. Otherwise, when I'm smoking, it's wide open until I can get that nice clear smoke. When you have that dirty smoke pumping out there, you wait, let it dissipate until you get that nice clear smoke. That's just a random brisket. I don't remember. I think the one on the right, those are two different briskets. I think the one on the right was cousin's Christmas thing, and I didn't actually. Somebody else wanted to take the picture, and then they sent it to me later. But the smoke ring. If you look, I hear people talk about, it had this huge smoke ring. I smoked it for 20 hours. And everything. That's not necessary. That's really not. And the smoke ring is great. It looks beautiful. It's what you want to see. You've got to have it. You're taking over smoke, and there's just not really any reason for it. And easy to dry out a brisket. I wrap after about a 16-pound brisket. After about 4.5 hours, I wrap it. It's done smoking at that point, and I inject every now and then. Not always. I usually get enough juice out of it.
Yeah. So Don, do you wrap?
I want to say what I learned was, when you open up those vents, get that, like you said, airflow. It tends to make the seasoning sink into the meat. Don't ask me why. I have no idea why. I started getting more of the seasoning within the meat once I started. Anyway, go ahead.
Now, what impresses me about this, and some people would, like you said, will talk about the smoke ring, but I love that bark on there. And the one on the left right here, where you see the bark, and even this one right here, what is true rub or seasoning on a brisket in Texas? Because here I've always heard salt and pepper, or salt, pepper, garlic powder. In Texas, and especially NC Texas, North Central Texas, what do you guys consider seasoning? Or I heard you said something about injecting. I inject up here with just beef broth sometimes. I do. I mix it all the time. I'm always looking for the best brisket I can make. But up here, we'll inject with beef broth. What do you inject with, and then what do you use to get that bark on there? And then also the third question, is it aluminum foil or butcher paper, or what do you like to use as far as wrapping it?
I'll answer the last one first. That's the great debate. Okay. I think I use aluminum foil. I think they both work great. A lot of people will take their brisket out and immediately, wrap it or in cheesecloth or something, and put it in an ice chest, shut the ice chest, and that's supposed to suck the juices back up in it. I've done that before, but I really haven't needed to. So I don't really do that. As far as the bark, the seasoning that I put on it, real, hill country, Texas barbecue, it's going to be salt and pepper. It'll be like 2/3 pepper, 1/3 salt. Now, I've used, early on, and some of the cookouts, knowing, having an idea who the judges were and everything, maybe paprika, but garlic. But I use generally just salt and pepper. I will add a little bit of garlic every now and then, but for the most part, if you get that salt and pepper, coarse ground, that's another thing. And you can't be shy. can't be shy because this stuff will run right off. You know, usually I use some kind of butter or something first, and then generously put pepper on there. And I probably use a little bit more salt than a lot of people, but you're going to get a nice pepper, but I'm going to have a little bit of salt. As far as injections, yeah, I use beef broth. Beef broth, I'll use, again, to bring up the salt again, but I'll put some soy sauce in it a lot of times.
Okay. And, never heard soy sauce in there before. That sounds
good.
But that is good. I do up here when I do my seasoning, I do a 2-1-1 ratio. I do 2 parts pepper, 1 part salt, and 1 part garlic powder. But I've also just used salt and pepper, and I like a little bit more pepper crust, like a pepper crust to it. Yeah. I have made it before where it's so salty that you had to take the salt off of it, though. I mean, living and learn by your mistakes, but I've also made it very, very salty as well. Yeah, I mean that food looks killer right there.
Incredible.
And then these ribs and this little cooker right here. This is the one that you said I think you cooked the feral pig on, but them ribs look killer.
Yeah, those that's what I'm looking for. Ribs are that color. I mean, with ribs, I don't know how you guys do it in North Carolina. But what I'll do is I have a seasoning that a rub I put on it that was actually developed by a friend of mine. His name is Ben Rushing in Louisiana, and it's called Dr. Ben's because he is a doctor. And he sent me some of these little shakers. He said, "Here, try this on your wrist, try it on your chicken, and let me know what you think." So I did, and I let him know and send me some more. How much do I owe you? And he said, "Don't worry about it." And he sent me this huge jug. I mean, it's not that big around. So I've got plenty for a while. But I'll use that. But, you know, it's a lot. I don't know if y'all heard Slappy Mama in North Carolina, but it's different seasonings. It's your basic garlic and some cayenne pepper, some black pepper. But it's just a certain mixture, a certain color. Anyway, so I put that on there. Again, like the brisket, I will wrap it after a couple hours, put some butter on it, brown sugar, honey. And generally, about 5.5 hours. I don't like it. I'm amused when I hear people say, "Oh yeah, the ribs were perfect. They were falling off the bone." Okay, well then they're overcooked, and it doesn't mean they weren't bad. I mean, it doesn't mean they were bad, but they're overcooked to me. I want to get that nice bite out of it, but maybe maybe that's a cook-off thing. I don't know.
No, that's like my mother. She likes fall off the bone, and
I like fall.
She likes fall off the bone, but I like a bite on it. I like just a little tug on it, personally. But again, that's kind of personal preference. Preference too. Yeah. It's not a competition.
Yeah,
so I see.
You like what you like.
Right. So then here's another picture of those ribs, and just like, man, how pretty they are. I mean, they just look so good.
Incredible.
That's a little beef rib on the right.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a beef rib on the right. It looks really good. I love beef rib too. All right, so what's this final picture right here of?
I just got baptized. No, I'm kidding.
You must have been a really good sinner in the past if they had to take you to the ocean to baptize.
No, I wandered out there and turned around and I saw my wife had told the phone to take a picture and I did that. And we were actually in Gulf of Mexico in Corpus Christi, where we and I just thought it was funny. It's kind of like I was getting this up. And I didn't even notice that. A friend of mine said, "What? You got baptized in the ocean or something?" So I thought it was just kind of a funny picture, but yeah, I thought I'd send you that.
Yeah, so we went a tad over our time right here, and we appreciate you and Don for coming on
thank
there.
You.
Anything in final you'd like to say to everybody, and hopefully you enjoyed this and we enjoyed it. We'd definitely like to have you on next time and maybe talk even more cooking. We just wanted to make sure we introduced your channel. Everybody here throughout this whole time in the description, we've got Don's a link to his NC Texas YouTube page. Please hit him up. If you're a creator and you're on here, please put hashtag creator. And if you're not subscribed to somebody else, please do that. But Don, we'll give you the final say right here, brother. Appreciate you being on there.
You bet. I'm a little bit surprised, that you see a guy like me in my age, in Texas, barbecue guns with a Pink Floyd cap on. No, man, I appreciate it. I've been sitting there watching. I've already picked up a couple of subscribers. I mean, since we went on. So I do have a video coming out in the morning. I've got to finish editing it tonight. And onward and upward. Let's go cruise again, man.
Yeah, I'm ready to cruise too, man. Some more bad news came out today, and but hey, we're going to cruise again. And this cruise community is really strong. Bar-B-Qie is really strong. We can at least do eating videos and barbecue videos right now. But hey, I'm ready to get on that ship back here behind us. And the Triumph was my first cruise ship I ever went on. You talked about the 2 times you went out was the Triumph. I think they've changed that to the Sunshine now, or Sunshine, maybe.
It's one or the other. Either Sunrise or Sunshine. Yeah, it's supposed to be really neat.
All right, Don, we appreciate it, brother. We will definitely check you out. Please check us out. We hope to have you back again one day. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
Man, that was fun, wasn't it? Man, Absolutely. Did you see those pictures of that food? Just looked incredible. Man, I'm a big fan of beef ribs. I love beef ribs. I love brisket. I like pulled pork too. Hey, when you're as big as I am, you like everything. Yeah. But man, that Don, he knows how to get it done. I mean, he does. And if he loves guns, he had one here recently with somebody from Colorado who came down and wanted some of his brisket. So he cooked them brisket, and then he took them to the gun range and they shot guns. And so, it really looks, you can tell he knows what he's doing. Hey, we're running a little bit late, about 5 minutes late. So I may not have to do my challenge tonight. And that's okay. I'll just have to tell Anthony I can't do the challenge because I don't want to sell Matt and Kimbra short on their time. We're getting ready to bring them in here. We're going to do a little bit of intro for them. They haven't seen us yet, but we're going to do a little intro for them. And then as soon as that's over with, boom, they're going to be on here.
Absolutely. The
podcast masters and the diving and scuba and cruising and all that.
All the fun
cruise stuff. Creatures and all that. We love that stuff. All right. So this one right here is an intro for Fintastic Studios. Did we get your country and your punk? I mean, it wasn't quite too punk, but it's not bad for epidemic music, right?
It was great.
It was good.
Perfect.
How do you like the background? I should have asked your permission for that, but I loved your background right here. So I kind of said, you know what, I'm going to steal it and put it on here just for them. You guys are doing good today?
Going good. Yeah.
Hey, so we're going to jump right back into it. You guys have been around for a while. You've got a great channel. We are huge fans of you guys. Anthony's a big fan. But I'm going to let you talk a little bit about it, and then we'll get into some questions ahead of time. Again, if you're watching this right now, hit hashtag creator if you're a creator. come up with some questions for Kimbra and Matt. But yeah, give us a little bit of a story about your Facebook page and then also your YouTube channel.
First of all, I have to say it is Australia Day. So for David Burgess, I had to wear my Vegemite shirt. But I had to make it myself because, it's hard to find Vegemite unless Dave's from us. But yeah, so you want to talk about it? You want me to talk about it? Here's the problem. I will just talk and she won't get a word in edgewise. She's got to smack me or something. So I'm trying to get better about it. So you go ahead. You tell them.
Okay, so we do the podcast Fintastic Cruising, and that's every week. It's all about cruising and then whatever else we kind of end up talking about. And then we also have Fintastic Studios, which is the YouTube side of it, and that's basically cruising and diving and whatever else.
Yeah. So we do the videos on Fintastic Studio. It gets confusing because we got too many Fintastic things going around. But we wanted to separate a little bit from the podcast and the YouTube channel just because the podcast is pretty much focused on cruising, and the YouTube channel originally was going to be more about cruising, but also about Florida and a little bit of theme parks and stuff like that. It's still been mostly cruising and lots of scuba diving. I think the Uber cruisers on there too. So there's another good day to Ian from Australia.
Yeah.
So I got to get my Australia shouts out because eventually I want to sneak over there and live. So I got to have places to stay.
Yeah. So, that's, I think you're kind of in the position we are, except for yours goes more together. Ours is food and barbecue and smoking meat, and then traveling, which could be cruising, which is our first love is cruising. But then we love the mountains and we love just, land-based as well. And, when we say travel, we're just giving our perspective of two average people. We're not travel agents or anything like that. But you guys, I mean, Michelle, this morning, she's like, we got to talk about their job and how awesome, because Michelle's a nurse, and I've heard her say this before. I wish I'd have went into marine biology. It is what it is.
And I'm too old to do anything different.
But yeah, she's living vicariously through you guys. Yes. So tell us a little bit about your job in Tampa. You guys are from Tampa and what you do there. And then, maybe a little bit about the marine life there, and then maybe we go into the diving and scuba diving stuff, because those are some favorites of ours as well.
Well, first of all, let me say that nurses are more important than what we do, and thank you very much for what you do.
That's very
Thank you.
And you're never too old. You're never too old. But yeah. So we both work at the Florida Aquarium, which is in downtown Tampa. Kimbra schedules programs and I teach them. So that's kind of what we do. I'm an educator. I've been in zoos and aquariums, science centers for most of my career. I started as a zookeeper, found out I like talking about animals more than cleaning up after them. I do a little bit of both now, but that's my real passion is marine life. So that's why I love cruising. Although, Mike, I will say that anybody who says cruising and food don't go together, they go together, right? Because
they've never been on a cruise, right?
But so our channel, and Kimbra shares that passion. So our channel is really, in our podcast, it's about cruising, but our kind of angle that we have is also the marine life, the animals in general, and our passion for just being under the water as opposed to being above the water.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun working at the aquarium and teaching classes. It's a little weird right now, but I know I got to teach Anthony a little bit about snakes. Although I knew most of the stuff already, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So we love the pictures of Luna. What is she again?
She's a blue tegu.
Blue. Yeah, she is so awesome and growing very quick with that turkey that you're feeding her, right? The raw turkey. So I just saw some pictures from this weekend. You want to talk about that a little bit? You guys just did some diving this weekend, right?
We did, actually, the last 2 weekends. So
yeah,
we had a heck of a week last week. So last weekend we went to see what kind of wetsuits we needed because we knew we were going to be snorkeling and diving in the springs. And so we went to a place called Silver Glen, just going to try out our wetsuits, and there were manatees in the water there. It's crystal clear. There was hardly anybody else there, so we got to swim with the manatees, which was what we were kind of doing our practice to go do, because we had some friends that came down from Wisconsin on Tuesday, but then we also went to a place called Alexander Springs and did a little scuba diving just to, again, get a little practice in and have some fun. And then when our friends came in on Tuesday, we picked them up from the airport, drove straight up to Crystal River, which is about a little over an hour north of
about an hour and a half.
Yeah, north of Tampa, and that's really the only place you're legally allowed to swim with manatees, where you can really interact with them and stuff. And so we did that Wednesday morning. Got up at 5 something in the morning.
5:30.
We got in the water at about probably 6:45. It was still dark. It was 37 degrees. Believe it or not, it was 37 degrees. That's Fahrenheit for David.
Whoa.
The conversion, but yeah, the water, however, is like 72. It's a little bit cooler by the boat, but that's why the manatees are there, to go into that warm water. So we got to hang out with some manatees. They were particularly cuddly. We'll have those videos coming out fairly
I can't wait to
soon.
see them.
Well,
Yeah,
we saw
it was
the picture of the. Who took the picture of you? Was it you and the manatee?
The one is
The kissing one. Yeah, that was me. So it was interesting. I've done this before. I've done swim with the manatees quite a few times. Never had them this interactive. So basically, we got in the water, and my instinct is, give the animals their space. Like, I'm here, I want to respect them. And I was having a hard time doing that. Finally, I realized they were trying to touch us. So once I let go of that, then they would come right up to you and they take their flipper and kind of nudge you because they want you to scritch their belly. And the one came up to me and just, I don't want to anthropomorphize, but I don't know what else to call it. Just kind of took its little schnoz and just squished it against my cheek. And I just had to film it. So it was pretty incredible experience. Really cool.
That is something. That is awesome. Yeah, I saw a little post or something where Kimbra was like jealous, and I think Matt, you came back and was like, "Well, are you jealous of me or are you jealous of the manatee?" Right?
Yeah,
probably a little of both.
A little of both.
Hey, we got a question right here, and Billy is actually my stepdad. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but Billy's a diver too, and he used to do rescue diving here for accidents and drownings and so forth locally. But he's got a good question for you right here for both of y'all. So what kind of wetsuits were you trying out, and am I in the need of a new one? So he's always looking for that next gear as well.
So our thing was, we have different wetsuits. Most of them are fairly thin because we do live in Florida, so we're not usually diving anywhere where the water's crazy cold. But my philosophy is, the less amount of wetsuit I have to wear, the more comfortable I am. And Kimbra, I think you're the same way. So recently what I've been diving or snorkeling is, I've got wetsuit shorts, and then I've got a wetsuit shirt, which is a lot easier to take on and off and stuff like that. But they're also a little bit thinner. I think the shorts are 1.5 millimeter thick, and the
shirt is, I think, 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5 millimeters. So we weren't sure. We didn't want to go swim with the manatees or go on our dive in Rainbow River, which we did last week as well, and then find out we didn't have enough wetsuit and be miserable. So we went to test it out. For me, it was enough. For Kimbra, it wasn't quite enough. So you ended up opting to go for the manatees.
Yeah.
You went with a full wetsuit, which is
it was a 3 mil.
3 mil.
So I wore my 3 mil full wetsuit for the manatee snorkel, and then we also dove Rainbow River the next day, which the shorts and top, just the wetsuit shorts and wetsuit shirt, were enough for me for there. So,
but then the air temperature at that point was a
lot warmer,
60, 70. Yeah. So it was. I was getting a little chilly. We were in the water with the manatees probably for an hour and a half.
Yeah, and I'm glad I had the full wetsuit. It was definitely needed.
I was getting a little chilly at the end. I was just looking for a big manatee I could just kind of snuggle up to it.
So yeah, Billy says out, I am running a Farmer John bottom and a wetsuit top. Okay.
Yeah, I've been there. Doesn't like it. I got my advanced open water certification many years ago in Table Rock Lake in Missouri, kind of near Branson area. And it was in October, and the water temperature was 50 degrees. And that is a big difference. So we did the Farmer Johns. So you've got like basically pants, and it goes up like overalls. And then you wear another suit that covers your arms. your torso again, and then goes under your crotch. And the problem is, you know that movie A Christmas Story where the little boy is wearing like the whole suit and he falls over and he can't get up?
Oh yeah, Chris
That's
girl.
what you're looking at when you're wearing a wetsuit. It's not a comfortable thing. And the more wetsuit you have, the more you float. So you have to counteract that with weight. So you're adding a bunch of weight. Like usually in freshwater with a minimal wetsuit, I'll wear about 8 to 10 pounds is about right for me. If I was wearing Farmer John's, it'd probably go up to like 18 pounds or something like that. So it's a big difference.
Yeah.
So Billy, he's hitting you up with these diving questions here. So I don't know anything what he's talking about, but I'm glad you're on here and you're giving us all a lesson on this. So I'm sure there's people on here that love to go snorkeling or diving. So he's asking now, do you ever dive dry? Dry. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's talking about dry suits. So there's wetsuits and dry suits. So the way a wetsuit works is it's a layer of neoprene. When you get in the water goes into your wetsuit, but the neoprene kind of holds it there, and your body heat heats that layer of water. So it keeps you nice and toasty. A dry suit is what it sounds like. It's actually cutting off the water. So you're wearing warm clothes underneath there, and it's just keeping the water out completely. Usually dry suits are going to keep you a little bit warmer, but there's a whole training that goes along with that because you're a lot more buoyant, and it's just a different experience. I have not ever dove with a dry suit at all. I've seen people doing it, but I haven't done it. It looks kind of interesting.
So let's see what we got on here. So here's somebody saying I snorkeled in Alaska and the suit was 7 millimeters and it did a great job. Wow.
That's Ian from Australia. Yeah, he's got a video on his Uber Cruisers channel that you guys should check out. It's intense. That is, see, the only way you'll get me to do things like diving in Alaska or snorkeling in Alaska or like I don't like heights, going high or anything like that, is if there's an animal that's the only way I can see it. Then I'll take risks and discomfort that I wouldn't normally put up with. And it looks really cool. Like we have a touch tank at the aquarium, which is, they call it the no bone zone. And it's all invertebrates from the West Coast, from like maybe San Francisco up through Canada and Alaska. So it's sea anemones and sea stars, and there's some sea urchins in there. We keep that water temperature at 52 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, I believe, 11 Celsius. And that's as warm as those animals can be. So if you're in Alaska, that's what you're going to be in, probably that or colder. But the animals there are unique to that environment. And if you want to experience them, you got to get cold. So, or, the wetsuits will do the job.
So have either one of you ever, went diving and we saw some videos with some sharks that were very low, but have you ever went like a whale? Have you ever been able to be in there with a whale or anything?
You ever seen a whale?
I've never seen a whale.
I haven't either. Dolphins, manatees. I've swam with whale sharks and other sharks. I've never even seen a whale. That is, like, people tell me I need to go to Alaska, and I'm so obsessed with the Caribbean. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to go to Alaska, but everybody that goes is like, no, you need to go to Alaska. And that is one of the things that makes me think that I need to do that, is so I can see whales. Also, I think you can see them on the East Coast if you go on some of those cruises. I know there's whale watching tours even in Jacksonville occasionally, but I have not had that pleasure yet.
I would.
Oh yeah.
That sounds like that'd be fun. But
yeah, whale of a time.
I could do the diving part of it. So Anthony set me up here for the sour challenge next. So, hey, let's talk a little bit about. We still got a few more minutes here, and then Blaine comes on at 8:00 tonight. And he's doing like a 3-hour. He just hit 1,000 subscribers on his channel.
Awesome.
He's filling in for, I think Sharon at Seas is not on tonight, so he's going to run from like 8 to 11, I believe. But for you guys being a cruising and a diving and snorkeling and so forth, if you each could tell me what your favorite, and this is kind of an easy softball question, but maybe your favorite port that you've been to, your favorite ship, and then maybe even your favorite diving places you guys been to, because I know there's a lot of people that from the cruise and travel that will watch us or come on there. And that's something we look for, and that's how we, kind of started first listening to you, was finding out about snorkeling and ports and so forth. Can y'all talk a little bit about that?
Sure. You want to go first?
Sure. You want me to go first?
Go first.
So my favorite ship is the Carnival Paradise, which was my first and second cruise. I've been on 5, and my first 2 were on the same ship because it was so good the first time.
Was it Paradise?
It was like paradise. And then my favorite port is Grand Cayman or Cozumel. I like them both, but probably Grand Cayman. My first dive, my first real dive was actually in Grand Cayman, and that's probably my favorite dive aside from one of the spots that we did in Key Largo. There was one spot there that I really liked. That was Snapper Ledge, but the dive in Grand Cayman with Eden Rock was phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My favorite port, bar none, is Curacao. That's why you hear me say Bonbini a lot. And Aruba is right behind it. Haven't been to Bonaire yet. Hopefully, I'm going to get there in September. We'll see what happens. But I haven't dove in any of those ports. I do love Grand Cayman. I've dove there several times. Really great dives. I've dove in Grand Turk and snorkeled in Grand Turk, Dominican Republic. I've dove there. Really good, beautiful reef there. Snorkeling in Half Moon Cay, I saw an octopus and got to play with an octopus.
I remember seeing that. That was awesome.
Not for diving, because it's not really, I don't think it's offered there, but it's good enough just to snorkel around there. And then my favorite ship is going to be the Carnival Legend. I've been on the Vista, I've been on the Breeze. I thought those would take it, but it all comes back to something about the layout of that class of ship. I just love the Carnival Legend.
Yeah, we've been on a few ourselves, and we haven't done the same ship twice yet. But I noticed in those pictures I showed at the beginning, though, that that pair of DJ was on there, J and D, because that was the Paradise, I guess. And one of the cruises we were on, and I think actually in our intro we showed the time lapse where we were on the Elation, which came out of, was that the Miracle came out of Tampa or the Elation? So Elation, I think the Elation was Port Canaveral. But long story short, D and J were coming in on the Paradise while we were on the Elation, and then I think they got caught up in some kind of hurricane or storm and had to stay extra days on it. But yeah, I keep hearing really good things about the Paradise. I mean, a lot of people, I think Dave and Brandy from Dave and Brandy's Excursions say that's their favorite ship. I think the pair of DJ, D and J have said that's their favorite ship, and now I'm hearing, Kimbra say it was, and you said the Legend, but that's that old same. Was that the same class of ship, right? Or is it
class? Yeah, I know D and J also like the Pride, which is the same class as the Legend. But yeah, the Paradise is.
Yeah, I think it's the Pride that all of them really
like. That wrong. That's the one out of Baltimore is the Pride. What?
Yeah.
Okay, I got that wrong. So I told it. Everything I just said for 2 minutes, forget I said it.
But you guys were on the Elation. The Elation and the Paradise are almost identical. I've been on both of those ships, and there is something about like that older small ship. Like, you can give me all these bells and whistles. That's all fine and dandy, but when it comes down to it, my favorite thing to do is sit and look at the water and just relax while I'm on the ship, other than eating. And so I can do that on any ship, and I can get from one place to another a lot quicker on an old fantasy class ship than I can on like a Vista or something where I got to walk for 15 minutes to get one into the other. I like those ships too, though. But yeah, something to be said for that old ship. Feel kind of closer connection to the water, I think.
Okay, so yeah, we're approaching 8 o'clock here. We got about 3 or 4 minutes. Anything again? Fintastic Studios. If you guys hadn't, subbed to their channel, please do so. Their link to their channel and their cruise community is in the description of this YouTube video. So if you're watching this on a replay, definitely sub to them. They got some awesome videos on cruising, and then the marine life, the cruise creatures is awesome as well. Really thank you guys. I cannot thank you enough.
Thank you so much.
We enjoyed being on your podcast a couple of weeks ago, and Anthony had his first signing where he got to sign autographs. You want to say hey to him, Anthony, real quick? Anthony's over here to the side. I want to say hey to you. Say to you both. But anything and final you'd like to say? And again, we appreciate you guys coming on here. We'd definitely love to do this again.
We got such good feedback from everybody. Loved Anthony.
Loved
like
Anthony.
So much feedback from that.
We love him too. You know, I mean, we can't rent him out though. We might consider renting him.
No, if you're interested in the podcast, if you search your favorite podcast platform, just search for Fintastic Cruising. It should come right up. If it doesn't, let me know because I'll fix it. But and then Fintastic Studios on YouTube, and yeah. If you like cruising, if you like underwater stuff, if you like animals, then we're probably a good stop to consider.
Yeah, y'all got an awesome channel. Hey, thank you, Kimbra and Matt, again. We really appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of the evening. I might talk to you behind the scenes about if I can still use this coral thing in the background because I really like that picture.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right, so we're down to 1 minute left, and Anthony has got this toxic waste. So I'm going to try the toxic waste on here, and the one I'm trying is it's a black cherry. So also, can anybody guess what we had in our solo cups? Mine, since it was a rough day today, mine was Jack Apple and Diet Coke. So I did have, for the first time in 3 weeks, I had some whiskey in mine. What'd you have, Mama Michelle?
I had some cranberry juice and blue cherry rum.
Yep. She had Kenny Chesney and some cranberry juice. So
And it's delicious.
yeah, there was not enough in here to do anything. But yeah, we did have some. And no, Mom, it was not green tea. All right, so I'm going to try this right here and see how bad it is.
So while he's playing with this, I'm going to explain why I am taller than he is this week. We have had difficulties trying to fix our height. So maybe next week it'll be better.
Well,
how bad? Worse than last week?
Oh. Woo!
Can't spit that out, Daddy.
No, I got to drink something. That's bad. I got tears coming to my eyes.
Look at this.
This whole thing is full, so I may have to even do this each week for a few weeks. But this is called toxic waste, and it's not a byproduct of human beings, but it sounds like the byproduct of something. I don't know. It is so bad. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Woo!
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, if you're a creator, put the hashtag creator in here. That is so bad. I might have to do this earlier in the show. But we're running up on an hour now. Thank you guys again. Next week, we have a great show again. Next week, it's going to be really good.
Okay.
Whew! I can't even think straight. I can't even think straight of who's going to be on here next week. I will post it tomorrow.
That's so good.
I can't think straight. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Thank
Please like
you.
and subscribe if you like
Bye-bye.
what we're doing. Thank you.